Well, we were talking about the times you have already played in Köpi, and we'll do that again today. I'm aware of the 2012 gig, but you told me that you have already played in here before that.
Yeah, I honestly I have like the worst memory ever, but I'm pretty sure it was sometime between 2005 and 2007, and I was just right out of high school, and the guys at Yellow Dog Records, which used to be based in Berlin, organized our tour. No expectations whatsoever, and we played like a festival or two, and most of the shows were kind of small, but I was just so blown away that I was in another country playing shitty music, you know? It was awesome.
Any notions on the three different times you have been here?
Well, I've actually, I don't know if I can count how many times I've been here. It's definitely been more than 10. And I keep coming back because I've, made a lot of friends over here. You know, there's like kind of what we were talking about before. There's more of an infrastructure for touring here. So it's a lot easier. It's a lot more organized. And, you go to a place long enough and you have some places that you fall in love with and that you want to keep coming back to. Like Berlin, for example. I've played Köpi, whether it was at the Big Room or Coma F, a lot of times, and I feel at home there, even though it's a really chaotic place, but nothing like that exists back home. So I'm stoked that it's still here, regardless of all the shit that it's been going through, and I feel very fortunate and privileged to be able to play here again.
That's actually very interesting. How do you see the differences between scenes, back home and then maybe here on the old continent?
It depends. It's different everywhere. I feel like last night, for example, we played in Solingen, Germany, pretty small town, and it was a small show, but it was a packed room. But the people there were very, very appreciative of you coming to the show. Those are the kinds of shows that I love. I love being able to feel like I'm making a real connection to some people that are there. I don't like to feel like I'm some cog in the machine, just a part of some touring economy. Like, I don't do this for money, obviously. I do it because I love playing shitty music and I love hanging out with people. And like last night's show was very comparable to playing in the middle of the United States, like in the Midwest, a small town. People are really appreciative. The shows are pretty wild. You play in a major city, no matter where you are in the world, and people are spoiled. They get lots of shows all the time. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be bad, but the attitude and the vibe is different. I'll say, though, I feel like in a lot of major cities in Europe, with the exception of let me rephrase that. I think that there's still kind of that chance to make an intimate connection in major cities in Europe, even in London, where, has a similar vibe to New York. People are just moving constantly. And there's 30 shows in one fucking night. And we played there last week. There was people like, oh man, I wish I could have come to your show. There's this blah, blah, blah. We still had a completely packed show and it was really fun. So I don't know.
Has Coke Bus done some music lately, or have you thought about writing
Right. Okay.
new music?
So we're slowly writing for something else. What that something else is going to be, I have no idea. It could be like a 2-song tape or another very short LP, EP, LP, 12-inch EP, whatever. We, there was the pandemic, obviously, and then our guitar player had kids. And, I play in a bunch of other bands, and we all kind of moved a little bit farther away from each other. So the band took almost seemed like a 3-year break. And we got back together. There was this punk kid from DC who had died, and it was a memorial show for him. And, it was still, the world was still locked down a little bit. They're having like a few shows here and there. And one of his favorite bands was Coke Bust. And his friends and family asked if we would play. And we were like, fuck yeah, of course we're going to fucking play. And, when you do something that you love for a really long time, you stop it. Sometimes you forget how much you really love it because you've been away from it for so long. And then we played that show and I was like, oh yeah, this band is really fun, So we've played probably about 3 or 4 other shows besides this tour in the last couple years. But they're starting to become more frequent. And so I'm hoping, we'll have something new in the near future. Yeah.
As you said, the world has changed quite a bit. Do you think something has changed in the way you write and record music?
I wouldn't necessarily say that, but I think my outlook on music in general has changed just a little bit. Like, I'm a sound engineer also. And I had this moment when the pandemic was starting to lighten up and I was getting called into clubs to do sound more often. And I did sound for some like really, really awful white boy reggae band who I had done sound for before. And I remember going into it being like, man, I can't believe I have to do sound for the show again. Like, it's really going to suck. But, I'm always professional and I never bring my attitude to work, especially for sound, because I became a sound person because every sound person that I had dealt with in the DC area was like such a fucking asshole on some fucking power trip about his space, making you feel really stupid and uncomfortable. And so I wanted to be the complete opposite. I was like, I play music. I know what I would want in a sound person. And really what I want in a sound person is for them to just be nice. I don't give a fuck if they're good at sound. I just want them to be nice. I want to feel like, welcome in the club or whatever the space is. So anyways, the show is happening. I'm dreading it. And then I had this moment where I there was this couple that was like making out like right next to the sound booth and grinding up on it and stuff. And something that would have normally made me kind of like annoyed. But I was like, man, these people are experiencing some sort of joy. And after 2 or 3 fucking years of being miserable, farting in your fucking sweatpants and eating Chinese food, and like so many of my friends died, committed suicide, overdose. My grandma died from COVID, money problems. Everyone was going through the same shit. So seeing some amount of joy or positivity, no matter how lame that fucking sounds, was really, really fucking awesome. And so now, it's kind of, not that I was ever super judgmental about music. I listen to tons of stuff, but the thing that I look for the most, and that's the most important to me when I see anything, it's like, are these people channeling something? Anything, Like, does it seem real? Does it seem like they need it, And that's what I get off on. I'm like, this band might suck, but it looks like they really need music to survive, Like it's their therapy, it's their fucking catharsis or whatever, So in terms of writing and recording, hasn't changed, but my general outlook has maybe gotten a little bit more positive, I guess, or open-minded.
Okay, so what does inspire you in 2023, or if you want to get a bit political, what are the issues that are like on top of your mind?
I mean, I get, I play in a few different kinds of bands, and each band has something else, something different that will inspire me for that band. Um, Honestly, the thing that inspires me is just playing more music because there was so long without playing music and I forgot how much I needed it. You know, I was like everybody else going so fucking crazy during COVID. My fiance and I, we planned like a month long motorcycle trip around the United States. And that was the closest I could get to being on tour was going to different cities. And it was so fucking great because I wasn't connected to my phone every day. I wasn't reading depressing news. I wasn't hearing about another one of my friends that have died. And so um, seeing live music, seeing people doing, positive stuff in their community, that stuff is inspiring. Also, just seeing like some cool ass shit, seeing some evil fucking shit sometimes, seeing some 17-year-old whose first punk band is kind of cool, I'm like, that's fucking cool. Seeing younger people coming to shows um, is inspiring. I'm like, cool. Things are continuing, people didn't forget about DIY, punk, metal, whatever. It's still going on, regardless if the people that were doing it prior to the pandemic are now jaded, whatever, or just have given up. And I don't even blame people that I've had that, decided to do something else with their lives because, you know, it's a very unique time in the world.
True. A lot of straight edge bands here tonight, and as I understand, you are straight edge too, or
Yeah. So I would, I am sober, but I don't identify as straight edge really anymore. And not for one reason or another, but it's not important to me. It's not important for me to be labeled as being straight edge. And also, straight edge has lots of bad connotations, and I don't really feel an affinity towards this label anymore. In fact, I'm often really bored by other straight edge bands. You know, to me, like if your identity is based on, or if your music is based around the thing that you don't do, it's like, okay, well, are there riffs? Do the songs kick ass? Are you channeling something? That's what I fucking care about. I love Refuse Fest. I love Robert Refuse. I love Refuse Records. In fact, like Robert has been like one of the most supportive people to Coke Bust, like probably ever. And he's from Poland, living in Berlin, and he is just like hustling all the time. You know, he's still able to kind of have this like subversive identity and outlook and putting on cool radical events. Like he's really inspiring. So even though this festival is like a festival with lots of straight edge bands, it almost doesn't feel like that because it's at Köpi one, which is not a straight edge venue. And I don't know. To me, it's like a big family reunion of sorts because a lot of these bands we've played shows with around Europe, in the US, even at Köpi. So yeah.
we have touched on scenes quite a bit, but how is your feeling? How has the underground music scene in DC bounced back after the COVID?
The punk scene, the punk and the hardcore scene is still kind of like slowly getting back up. In DC doesn't have any DIY spaces and hasn't for a really long time, which is why I booked shows in DC for almost 20 years, and most of the shows were at warehouses or churches or houses or restaurants. you know, because clubs didn't want to put on punk shows. So, in order for a punk scene to survive in DC, it takes a lot of work, you know. So, it's there, it's still really cool, but it's like, it's very, very small right now. The metal scene, on the other hand, has like, it's bigger than ever and it's cooler than ever. There's this guy, Hassan, who his moniker is Ripping Headaches Productions. And he's a buddy of mine, and he is like truly an inspiration because, you know, I've been into metal as long as I've been into punk, but when I first started going to metal shows in the DC area, most of them were in Virginia, and they're at this venue called Jack's, which fucking sucked. And there was usually a Nazi or two there, and the sound fucking sucked. It was far away. You know, the people there sucked. It was really dark. And I was like, you know, I'm just listening to my records at home. You know, I don't want to deal with this shit. And so like DC, you know, when I was in high school or middle school and getting older, the metal scene was like not desirable for me. I didn't feel an affinity towards it. And now it's like a DIY metal scene, and there's like, it's really diverse, like super diverse, you know, gender, race, sexual orientation, like one of the most, in my opinion, one of the most diverse metal scenes in the US. And it's not huge, but it's sizable, and the shows are really fucking cool. And he doesn't book dumb shit, you know? He's not booking sketchy bands, and he's got a really good taste in music, and it's cool. And they're also like, you know, he's booking punk bands with them. Or like I have another band called Vosh, and it's not punk. It's more on the, I don't know, goth, dark wave, industrial kind of thing. And it all vibes, you know?
We've been talking about how things are at the moment, but and maybe some upcoming music. But how do you see the future of Coke Bust, like in a bigger picture?
I mean, you know, we would definitely really like to record some more. I mean, we've been a band, I think, since 2005, maybe, or 2006. Again, I'm so bad with, my memory fucking sucks when it comes to numbers. Anything involving numbers, I'm fucked. But we've been really fortunate, and we've toured all over the world. We've been to South America twice, Japan, you know, Europe more times than we can count. And, you know, I would like to go to some places we haven't been to. I would like to record more music. And this band has always been like a very low pressure band for all of us. Like, we do it because it's fun and we love it. So as long as it's still fun and, you know, we don't hate each other, like, the sky's the limit, I guess, you know?
When you think about the times that you started Coke Bust, and maybe also the times around Statue, what are like the first things that come to mind, or the best memories?
Well, we would always get booked with like really clean cut, straight edge hardcore bands in the US. And just because, you know, we were a straight edge band, but a lot of them didn't like us, you know, like we were too fast. Our slow parts weren't long enough. We smelled bad, you know, like we have more of an affinity towards punk than we do hardcore, but we love everything. And I remember all these shows being so awkward, you know, and I'm like, damn, I think we suck. I think we fucking suck. I think people are not into it. And that's fine because it's still fun. And then kind of seeing like, you know, finding our niche, you know, finding what shows are cool to play. Who are the people that we vibe with? And to me, that's like the coolest thing about touring for a while. Is like eventually you find those people. You find the people that you get along with, the shows that are going to be fun, you know. But I still love And actually, I'm obsessed with being taken out of my comfort zone. Like we played in Finland, we played Puntala Festival, and we were told, I don't know if it was true, that we were the only and first straight edge band to ever play Puntala.
Very probably right.
Yeah. But I was like, that's fucking cool, you know? And we felt, even though like we're obsessed with Finnish punk, like we were very out of our element in a way, you know? But it was so much fucking fun. Like still a lot of friends there. Got to see Tervit Cadet, you know, dude from Aristitute, you know, I'm pronouncing it wrong, but you know, your band names are hard to pronounce. So, I don't know. So I love that shit too.